Hello, and welcome to Imperfect Realism. Today, we'll be looking at Nightcrawler, a 2014 film written and directed by Dan Gilroy and starring Jake Gyllenhaal. It follows a man living in Los Angeles as he moves from an unemployed thief to the CEO of his own company. This sounds like the classic American dream. With enough hard work, you can get the car, the girl, and become a leader in your field. However, much like the real American dream, it has a much darker side. Spoilers ahead for Nightcrawler. So if you have not seen this film, I would highly recommend stopping and watching before you see this video. Before we dive into Dan Gilroy's deconstruction of the American dream, a quick recap of the events of the film. We are first introduced to Lou Bloom as he is attempting to steal fence. He is then stopped by a guard who he attacks, and then we see him driving away with his watch. He takes this fence and other items and tries to sell them at a construction site. He successfully does, after being rebuffed on his negotiations, and offers himself up for an unpaid internship, but is denied. He then is driving home, and he sees a fiery car on the side of the road. He gets out to take a closer look, pulling off to the side of the road. Then, pulling up in a van, we see Joe and the other man that works for him as they move in with cameras and attempt to record the woman being saved from the fiery car. Lou is immensely intrigued in their actions, and once they are done recording, he goes over and talks to them about what they've just done. Joe gives him the lowdown on what it is like to be a stringer, and how he sells bloody and otherwise horrific film to local news companies to show on their morning news segments. Lou then goes home and wakes up early in the morning, flipping through the news channels, attempting to catch film that Joe has sold on the local news networks. He catches it and immediately is intrigued and works to become a stringer himself. We then see him sitting on the beach, looking at the people around him, and he then steals a bike as is left unattended. He pawns this at a local shop to get his start with a police scanner and a camera. He then goes out and attempts to get footage on his first night. He sees a carjacking and attempts to get in very closely to get a good angle on the scene. But he angers the first responders there, and they end up kicking him and another stringer off the scene. The other stringer gets very angry, and then begins to call a local news company to try and sell the footage that he's just obtained. Lou listens in on the conversation and drives to the news station himself rather than uploading his images. He then haggles with the people there and is introduced to Nina, who he shows his footage to. Nina then gives Lou the lowdown on the business of being a stringer, but tells him that he has a good eye for this sort of thing. We then see Lou encountering Rick for the first time. He offers Rick an unpaid internship. However, Rick, a man on the verge of homelessness, needs money right now. So Lou gives him a very small amount of money per night to work for him. He employs Rick to give him directions to different crime scenes so that he can film them, and they begin working together. Rick originally struggles to acclimate to the work climate that Lou attempts to cultivate. However, they soon begin to work together more successfully, and we see Lou's business begin to thrive. He then upgrades his car, his equipment, and everything about his business, and he starts to have more success in his life as a stringer. Lou then uses the success of his business to leverage Nina into a dinner with him at a Mexican restaurant. At this dinner, we see Lou using information that he has gained about Nina off of the internet to leverage her further into a sexual relationship with him. After this relationship is sealed, we see Lou have his first unsuccessful night out, as he fails to obtain any very good footage for Nina. She is very upset due to just being blackmailed into a sexual relationship with him. We then see Lou sabotage the van of Joe, his main competitor as a stringer, who had just recently offered him a job to work for his company. Lou did not like the idea of working for someone else, and thus wanted to get him out of the way and re-ingratiate himself with Nina and further their successful business partnership and sexual relationship. So on a night when Rick begins to question Lou's directions as they head in the opposite direction of a rape, Lou knows exactly where he's going as he heads towards the crash site of Joe and his crew. He and Rick then record their horrific crash and use it to further their own business at the pain of someone who was a competitor. It is then that we see Lou and Rick head towards the scene of the crime that will be the big break in Lou's business that he's been waiting for. It is a murder of a family in a nice part of town. He and Rick arrive there before the police do, and so Lou gets out attempting to gain some exclusive footage. However, he's also arrived before the criminals leave, so he is able to record their license plate as well as their faces before heading into the home and recording the ghastly scene inside. He then returns to Nina's station and attempts to sell the video to her. However, this time it comes with a list of demands because he knows how valuable the film that he has is. He has demanded that the price that he sets for whatever videos he has in the future is the price that gets paid, that he will start to develop relationships with the other business people at the station, as well as Nina will have a higher level of compliance in their sexual relationship. The following day, he is questioned by the police who believe he is withholding video from the scene of the crime, which he is. He then uses the video that he withholds to track down the two men who committed the murders the night before. He follows them around town after blackmailing Rick into helping him record them when they are in a more advantageous setting to make the film more valuable. He waits until they are in a restaurant in a more populated part of town and calls an anonymous tip and waits for the police to arrive to arrest the two men. Once the police arrive, there's a scuffle at the restaurant, and it appears that one of the men, as well as one of the police, have been shot. However, one of them gets away and starts to lead the cops on a chase. Lou follows closely behind, driving very dangerously and potentially infringing on the cops' ability to make the arrest and the stop safely. They follow the cars as they go careening around the city as multiple cop cars get wrecked. Finally, the car containing the suspect wrecks, and Lou goes in to check it out. He then signals to Rick that it's all safe, that he should record the dead man inside the car. However, the suspect is not dead and pulls a gun, killing Rick. Lou then records the death of Rick, completing the entire evening, and has video to further sell to Nina. However, it turns out that the killings that this all was based on was not a home invasion, but a drug killing. Nina hides this information for the evening so that the car chase can make bigger news in the morning. She and Lou look to celebrate, however the police arrive attempting to shut down the broadcast. They are unsuccessful, but then we see Lou being questioned by the police the next day. They are asking if he hid evidence and whether he felt bad or was at all responsible for the death of Rick. He denies all of this and we see him leave the station, and it appears that he is a free man. It then cuts to the final scene in the movie, where Lou stands out in a parking lot in a nice new outfit in front of two vans with his company logo on them and three interns all in uniform. It appears that he has moved on with the business and is growing to be bigger and better and will continue to be a staple of the Stringer community for a while to come. In several interviews, Dan Gilroy, the writer and director of this film, talks about the story of Lou Bloom being an American success story. And according to Jake Gyllenhaal, he read the script and came to this conclusion as well before speaking with Dan Gilroy. There is little evidence in this film to refute the claim, as if you look at it from the beginning to the end, Lou Bloom moves from being unemployed to being the CEO of his own media company, being able to employ several other people, and achieving great financial success. Further following the words of Dan Gilroy, he said that if Lou Bloom were in our world today, he felt he would be the CEO of a Fortune 500 company. This is because Lou was written to be a character with an immense hunger. His hunger being both literal due to his impoverished beginnings, and figurative as he grows more ambitious with each success. Jake Gyllenhaal wanted to have a visual representation for this hunger, and thus lost 30 pounds before filming began. He also said that he began to view himself as a jackal, and took this into his performance as Lou. Visuals play an important role in this film, not only as it is what Lou sells to achieve his success, but also in the visuals that he wishes to present to the world so they may know his success. Lou's attempts to achieve these visual markers of success start very early on in the film with the watch. Lou is shown to be willing to sell almost anything to make a quick buck. He sells fence and wire that he has stolen, as well as a racing bike. However, while trying to steal the aforementioned fencing, he is stopped by a guard. Lou then attacks this guard and is shown later to have taken his watch. However, he does not sell this watch, despite it having monetary value and him needing money very badly. This is because while he's willing to steal to get ahead, he is chasing an image that the world has shown him to be what a successful businessman is. As the film progresses, Lou is shown obtaining more and more things that are associated with success in America. The next thing that Lou gets is a car. He is shown to have a very old, beat-up car at the beginning of the film, and this costs him time and money on his journey towards success, so he eventually replaces the car with a much nicer one, as well as improving the interior with police scanning equipment. It is clear, though, that Lou is not only concerned with the performance of the car, but the optics of it as well. He opts for an ostentatious red muscle car. This is beyond what he simply needs for success in the field. We are shown that Lou's main competitor, Joe, is driving a van that holds all of his equipment more easily, but would be considered slower and much less visually pleasing than Lou's red muscle car. And Lou has been consistently taking what Joe is using to succeed throughout the film. It is a conscious choice by Lou to get this car over any other. To him, an American sports car, bright red and fast, is something that will make people notice that he is a successful businessman. This is one of the symbols that the culture around him has shown to be one of a successful businessman. As Rick points out later in the film, it is hard to hide in a bright red car, something that is very necessary for their line of work. However, Lou will take that risk for the status symbol that the car represents. He does not care how he gets all the trappings of success, he just wants them. He will continually chase the American dream, no matter what danger it puts himself or others in. He wants to be the American businessman. The car may be the most innocent example of Lou pursuing the image of success, as he purchases the car with money that he has earned through his work. This work may be more morally dubious than some other professions out there. However, it is still honest labor that earns him an honest paycheck. Some of the other things that he achieves throughout this film for the image of success are achieved in far less innocent ways. We now move on to another symbol of success that Lou attempts to achieve throughout the film: the girl. In American movies and culture, it is often seen that a man of success has a beautiful woman by his side throughout it all. And for this, Lou pursues a sexual relationship with Nina, the woman to whom he sells videos. The audience is shown the formation of this relationship and a tense conversation between the two at a Mexican restaurant. However, in order to get here, we have already seen Lou leverage the quality of his work to get Nina to the restaurant, claiming that it would have a negative impact on her career if she refused to meet him there. Nina states that she is only there as a professional courtesy to Lou due to the quality of work that he has produced. However, once at the restaurant, we are treated to Lou running through Nina's entire career history, showing an incredible level of research that Lou has gone through in preparation for this dinner. At first, this may seem like a strange form of flattery from a man that has some issues socializing with others. However, this quickly takes a dark turn, as Lou uses the information he has just presented to coerce Nina into a sexual relationship. He threatens her career, as it is his assumption based on the information that he has presented that Nina is near the end of her contract at the station and her ratings are dipping. Lou also knows that the film that he has provided Nina and the station has significantly raised their ratings, and he feels that he is now in a position to save Nina's career. This is also a position to make demands. However, he only has one demand: that Nina enter a sexual relationship with him. This is quid pro quo sexual harassment at its finest. However, this does not bother Lou. He has no qualms with pushing the limits of what others would perceive as right in order to achieve success. And this success has one image in mind: the image of an American businessman achieving the American dream, with the car, the girl, and the money. He now has the car and the girl, and he does not care how he got it. In the final scene of the film, we see the culmination of Lou's journey to become the symbol of a businessman. We are not shown this in the most conventional way, as we are not given a tour of Lou's decadent home filled with expensive things, but we simply see him standing in a parking lot, in front of 3 interns in uniforms and 2 new vans with his company logo along the side. He now has the wealth to afford things for his business, separate from his personal life. Before, everything that he was in his business. His apartment was bare. There was barely more than a bed, a TV, and a plant. and his closet equally bare, with only a few outfits which we see him wear throughout the film. He now is able to afford 2 vans and uniforms for his interns, and outfits for himself. He has achieved a wealth where he can put money into his career, but also put money into his personal life. We assume that the sporty red muscle car that he put all of his money into earlier is nestled safely at home in a garage, and as he has achieved a level of success and is not arrested by the police, we assume that his position at the station, as well as Nina's, is secure. So his relationship with the girl will go on, as he has a valuable service, and so does she. And we now see that he has the money that he has worked for this entire film. He no longer has to thieve and steal and offer his unpaid services to people in order to attempt to stave off starvation. He is now able to offer other people the chance to work unpaid for the hope of becoming a paid member of his company. He has wealth, he has the car, he has the girl. He has become what the culture around him showed him is the successful businessman. However, we still see the hunger in Lou's eyes that we have seen throughout the film. We know that as much as he has achieved what he can achieve on this scale, this will not satisfy him for long. He will continue to search for more symbols, for more things to secure his place as a successful businessman. He will never truly be satisfied, and he will always be pushing the limits of what is lawful and what is right in order to achieve the success. This brings us to the main question that I believe the film is asking. How far will you go? Nearly everyone in the film we see is pushing the limits of what is right or what is lawful in some way. We even see the construction worker and the pawnshop owner buying things from Lou that they clearly know were stolen. However, no one goes as far as Lou, and so this question is all relative to how far Lou will go. We see Rick questioning Lou's authority towards the end, not willing to push the limits quite as far, not willing to put others in danger in order to get the shot of the 2 men being arrested for the murders. And for this, Lou puts him intentionally in the way of a gunshot, so that his final act can be in service of Lou's greater success. Lou is willing to go so far that he will kill the man who helped him achieve his success to push him to the next level. We see Nina also willing to push the limits of what is allowed on the broadcast. She puts everything that Lou brings to her on the morning news. No matter how bloody, no matter how disturbing, no matter how potentially illegal the film is, she is willing to put it on the air. However, she is held back by those around her, those that question the practices of Lou, as well as the film that he provides them. And this then also holds Nina back from going as far as it is deemed necessary, according to Lou, to achieve success, and thus she is below him as well, and this results in him blackmailing her into a sexual relationship. He does not feel that she has what it takes to achieve true business success, and thus will not take her in as part of his journey. He will only have her as a sexual object, one that he can use for the image of success, but she serves very little purpose beyond that. He has aspirations beyond her. He will go however far it takes to achieve these aspirations. By the end, we see that Lou was willing to go far enough. He was willing to do anything that it took to achieve success. He was striving to become the businessman that our culture so idolizes, especially in a time when so many were impoverished, so many were unable to find work, that even at the beginning, Lou was willing to work an unpaid internship just to get his foot in the door. Except, he wouldn't stop there. He was willing to break laws, he was willing to stage crime scenes, and he was willing to walk through the blood of those who had just recently been murdered without calling the police, without alerting them that he knew where the suspects were, what they looked like, and where they were going, in order to sell film, in order to achieve monetary success, in order to move his company and his life forward, in order to be the symbol that he had been told he needed to achieve. There is no great twist in this film. None of Lou's actions are unexpected or out of character. All of it is lying just below the surface of his calm demeanor. He was always willing to go this far. He just needed an avenue that would allow him to achieve the symbol of what he thought he needed to be. He always wanted to be this American businessman, this symbol of success, this symbol of the American dream. And he found being a stringer, recording the death and carnage of others, exploiting their pain and their suffering for his own gain. He now had his avenue for success, and he was going to take it as far as it would let him. He would not let any laws or morals get in his way, because in the free market there is no space for laws and morals. There's only space for results. And Lou got results. He got exactly what he set out to get. He got the car, the money, the girl. Lou's story is technically one of success. It is success in America. It is success in the free market. It is the willingness to push beyond what others will, to bend laws and morals to your will in order to achieve what you set out to. This is technically what we all strive to achieve. We just got to be confronted with the dirty underbelly of how one man did this, how one man pushed himself to become what we all secretly want to be, what our world and what our culture tells us that we should be. And he did it in a dirty, disgusting, depraved way. But at the end of the day, if you were told in a news article that a man went from being near homeless with no job to the CEO of his own company that was making money, that was providing almost all of the morning news video for a single broadcast network, you would smile and say, yes, good for him. He's doing it. But now we got to see how the sausage got made. We never wanted to see it. We all wanted to ignore it. But here it was, laid out for us, plain to see, how our lives are chopped up, ground up, and stuffed into a version of success, one that is sold to us by those around us, by those who have achieved success, so they may further their success. You have to go further than you ever thought you would be willing to in order to achieve success in America. And so we're confronted with the question, how far will you go? And the answer is likely not far enough. Because in the culture, in the world that we live in order to achieve this type of success, there is no room for empathy, for compassion for others, for the moral quandaries that stop us from doing the sort of things that we see Lou do throughout this movie. This movie is a success story for Lou, but at the same time, it is a condemnation of the system that allowed him to succeed, the system that pushed him to succeed. At several points in the film, Lou reminds those around him of how much information he's able to glean from the internet, and I believe that the internet is also where he gets his image of success. Lou is shown to have a general disregard for the lives and feelings of those around him, and thus likely has no true reason to obtain and maintain such visual symbols of his wealth. However, the internet culture that pushed him to take such drastic steps to achieve success also push him to a certain image of success, and this is what he attempts to achieve throughout the film. It is my hope that you do not come away from this video believing that Dan Gilroy, Jake Gyllenhaal, or I endorse Lou and his actions, but that we all still view his story as one of success, but his success being cautionary. His success showing us the flaws of the system that we live in, flaws of the culture that impresses upon us this need to achieve a certain symbol of wealth, to achieve these monetary and material gains that to others signify, we are wealthy, we have made it. To me, it was the intention of Gilroy, Gyllenhaal, and all of those who worked on the film to show us how we need to reframe the idea of success, that success can be individualistic. Lou has no individuality beyond the system that he is born in, the system that he exploits. He gains all of his personality from the internet and the culture that is impressed upon him. He has no idea of success or personal happiness other than what is presented to him. He takes his job from someone else. He sees that he can exploit it for monetary gain, and he pursues a business model that he learned from the internet. He achieves a sexual relationship through information that he gained from the internet. He has pursued endlessly this symbol of success that a culture has impressed upon him. Lou is a success, but he is a success of a machine. He is a success of a system. There is no individuality or happiness to Lou's success. And I believe that was Gilroy's message with this screenplay and with this film. To find some individuality within it, to define success on your own terms, and to have happiness, moments of peace, and a respite from the rat race in your life. For we only ever see Lou working, we only ever see Lou climbing for something else, we only ever see Lou hungry. He is never satisfied, he's never happy, he is just continually moving forward. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more content like this, make sure to hit the subscribe button and leave a comment below, either about your opinions of Nightcrawler as it relates to success within the American capitalist system, or another movie that you'd like to see me analyze in a long-form essay like this. I also do animation. You can see one of my animations also on this channel that I have posted. I'm hoping to create some more in the future. And I also have posted some stills and shorter animations I've made on a Twitter page, which will be posted down below. Alright, well, I hope to see you guys soon. Bye.